Good evening, all. I'm going to do a simple, hopefully simple little project for the wifey. She wants some little, or I shouldn't say little, some boxes, shallow boxes rather. The lid so she can paint. So just mark centers. These are relatively square. So we'll mark centers. Guess I can do it on both sides even. This is some maple, I think. It's not a hard maple, it's some sort of a softer maple. One's going to be used as a lid. The other one was a base. This has a knot in it, so I think I'll use that for the base, or for the lid. The other one is clean. Because the lid, this material is about 1 3/4 inches or a little better thick. I don't need nowhere near that for the lid. But it's also not really, probably not thin enough, or thick enough to resaw it. And that piece has a knot in it anyhow, so I'm going to worry with it. This is some dry wood, so this will be a start to finish kind of project. Nothing wet, so we don't need to do anything different. Might as well get my compass and see whether it's worth cutting the corners off. Probably not, but not really much in the way of corners, so I might as well just turn them off. Just as easy. And I don't end up with little chunks of wood that I have to do something with. Hi. So this piece has a bit of a curve to it. So there's the rings. This would have been the pith somewhere, probably close to that. So this would be a flatter side over here. So we'll use that for the bottom. We'll need a longer tool rest eventually. Don't really need a long one at the moment, but we'll eventually. So we'll just switch to that. Go out here and find our corners. Get fairly close. Close up some shower curtains to keep the mess contained. And we'll use our traditional swept back bowl gouge. See whether it's got any life left on that one. Probably, maybe not. We'll see. Start off nice and slow, off to the side. Making a bit of noise right off the bat. Probably because it's a little bit further out around than what it needed to be. Tighten things up a little tighter than that. Remember, it's on a stub center, so I can't be too aggressive. It already slipped once. Get rid of some of the corner. Also means we got rid of whatever little out of balance was there. Now we get the speed up more where we want. So it should be pretty close to round there. Okay. Tiny little flats left. Okay. Definitely need to go give this a quick sharpen. See what else we might need to sharpen while we're there. Probably the spindle gouge. So let's go over to the old trusty grinder. Set for the bowl gouge, so we'll do that first. I think it's set for the bowl gouge, yeah. There is lines on the side of that bar. I didn't just move it to imagination land. Just I don't think I did. Nope. in the right place. And we should be able to go to there. It's going to work. You can see it from both angles. Flatten up this bottom, get a tenon on it. Yes, I was able to slow that down. Looks like that for some reason the belt wasn't quite tight. I shouldn't have been able to slow it down as easily as what I was. These are going to be sort of a very simple and basic kind of a thing. Still missing a little bit there, but I got to put a tenon on there. I think we're going to grab it with our bigger jaws. Actually, let's look at something else. If we go even bigger yet, up to the 4-inch jaws, you just put a very small tenon on there and then leave it. Let's take a look at that once. Do not leave the chuck sitting on there. I should be able to grab about 1/8 of an inch, something like that. I really should have. You still can, I guess. Could have used a worm screw or something like that to have grabbed a hold of that. Would have given me total access to this bottom. So it's just a slight little dovetail with the tailstock in there. I can't quite get into that corner with the scraper either. sort of going to be what I would consider like a dog dish kind of a thing. A little bit more work to do it this way. I think we're going to switch things around. Grab a hold of that, flatten out the top, put a tenon up there so I can grab that and get rid of some of this down here that I don't want. And it could still be a little smaller. Probably going to leave teeth marks at that. So we'll address that when we flip it back around. Oops. Knock the camera. There we go. It should be flat. Not quite. The corner goes away, so that should be all right. So that's still going to leave us. Still going to leave us about 1 3/4. Probably good enough, I would think. So grab, mark a tenon again. Don't need the giant size one on the inside because all that's going to go away eventually. Just need some room for the jaws. And we can just use our parting tool. That's while I'm at it. I might also get rid of this sharp corner. So ideally this should put I need to put a center line on there or something so that I know where to go, where center is at, sort of make this a, I don't know, donut shape maybe? I guess that's what you could call it. Okay, now let's go back to the bottom. That was a little bit too big. It left some teeth marks in there. That certainly wasn't very clean to start with. Get rid of that hole. A little bit of a decoration to the bottom. Paper spindle gouge would be a better choice for that. Now we gotta check to see whether it's it's concave. It's going to sit out there in an outside room, which is what I want it to do. Need to take that down just a shade. This paper is probably not the choice. Back to our spindle gouge. Take just a little bit out of it. I probably should round the corner a little bit. Just a little bit. Then I'll sit up off the table a little bit right there. And then a little more work in there. Not quite cut clean in that corner. I need it to be. That should do that. So now, I'm try and come up with center point. Inch, so that'll be half and one, and where thereabouts. Pretty close. So that should be our center line. Relatively close. So we'll just make it round. Try and land up to that center point. Should be able to come from both sides. Nice light little cuts across. Should be enough of a curve, I think. Looks like enough to me. So like all these kind of projects like this, we're going to give this a little bit of sand, the round part in here, because we won't be able to come back to it. And we won't be able to power sand that either, at least not easily. This is a painted project, so I don't have to sand it super smooth. A little bit of a picked up green right there. So we're just going to reverse on that part. See where it takes that out. I'm liking them lines. So maybe we'll just do a little bit of power sanding up there. That should get rid of them. Also went back, that's 120. See a little bit of a different shade of color. You have some deep scratches in there. Still not scratch free, but like I say, this gets painted, so it doesn't necessarily need to be very particular. It's smooth and it's a good curve. The paint will fill in any of the unwanted kind of scratches. So 220 is probably where we're going to stop at that. Looks like I should do a little bit more. Still a little bit of picked up grain there on the end of it, where it hits that end grain for some reason. A little bit of hand sanding and we'll go over it, go over it again. That should be good enough. Okay. Always a great idea to get rid of the life center because I just brushed up against it with my elbow. Fortunately enough, it didn't brush too hard against it, so it didn't cut me. Now we've taken enough off, there's less than 1/8 of an inch gap in there, so that shouldn't leave any lines. If it does, it'll be very small lines. So all of our work now is going to be there. This, for the most part, will be just sort of like a little shallow bowl from here, except I'm going to go straight I'll go straight in out here somewhere. Create a little bit of a straight area for the lid to sit on. Weak tonight, not getting the tailstock quite where it needed to go. You got to keep in mind it's not very deep. It is rather dusty though, so maybe we'll utilize a little dust collection. Sorry for the extra noise, but it's going to be a little flat-lidded box. Question was, what am I making? It's basically it'll be a little, I don't know, a little flat box. And I have to pay attention because it's, like I say, it's not very deep. Now scales measure. We can go down quite a bit from there. My wife is a decorative painter. She's the one that wanted this. So I'll leave a rim out here. I'll have to switch scrapers. I did make a square end, sort of a square end scraper. It has just a slight little radius to it so that I won't contact that whole big area at one time. Like I say, it won't have much of a curve in the bottom, although it could have a little bit of a curve, I guess. Well, maybe we're going to use this one. I thought I had this one. Huh. So we're going to go back to the grinder a second. These scrapers here, I made my own. Just some, they're basically fly cutters for metal cutting, metal working kind of thing. So the tang is probably the most difficult part of making them. I do cut most of it off with the cutoff wheel and the angle grinder. So I have to finish up the last part of it, sort of by hand. I thought I had this thing the right size. It doesn't want to go in my holder. So I take a little bit more off. Probably didn't have these outside edges quite rounded over enough. Because I know, yes, for some reason it's still tight in that one. I have another one over there that I was using. That's weird. Change the plan. Back to the grinder. Bring this one with me because I had another brand new one over here. It slides right in that one. I'll have the, This is kind of the time-consuming part of making these, is grinding all this stuff. Square ones is not too bad because there's not a super big ton of material removed off the end of it. There we go. I can show you another one I'm working on is a pointed one. Well, that's a ton of material removed grinding wise. That's something that, you know, take 5 or 10 minutes out and grind a little bit, and you gotta let it cool off. But it's a whole heck of a lot cheaper than buying one already made, for sure. Back to the turning part. There we go. So also be the true test of whether I had this one sharp. It's been ground, but I didn't really flatten the top of it out. But I will be able to go pretty much straight in. It takes a second for it to catch up. Well, in order to do this outside edge, I got to go well above center. So the only thing that makes contact is that upper corner. Otherwise, it pushes it away. Not a good idea to touch that in there either, so that's sharp. Take a little bit more off because it didn't cut cleanly up here. It's better, but not totally where I want it to be. But you can always use a different kind of a scraper. The one I was using does not have any cutting edge on the side. could switch to a different one that does, which is what this is. This is a box scraper. This is actually a Thompson tool. So this one I'll be able to go straight down along here and should clean it up. And let me get in that corner nicer than I could with the other one. Let's stop and take a peek. I'm still sort of fuzzing that up a little bit. I believe that's got the majority of it. And probably not very flat on the bottom. Doesn't feel like it. Go back to the one that's a little flatter. Very tempting to reach in there and touch things, but that edge right there is very, very sharp. I don't know that it really makes any difference. If this was a lidded box of other origins, it might. Looks like I'm tapered inward a little bit, but it doesn't, in this case, it really isn't going to matter. Any place it might matter is going to be across here. And make sure there's a little bit of daylight on the inside, which there is. So, as always, we're back to lidded boxes are known for the part of do a little bit and sand a little bit, no matter what size it seems to be. Should be able to power sand in that part, but the rim is going to have to be done by hand. If they got any grit left on this sandpaper. First order of business is going to take that corner off. Slow our speed down a bit more. Still some picked up grain in there that I don't particularly care for. Question is, be right back. I have whatever here, I think. else fails, go back and coarser grit. Still leaving me some places. The end grain once is picked up down in there in a place that you almost can't get into sand. So we're going to switch, sort of start over in a way. I'm going to switch over to the spindle gouge and make a cut. And see if I can't get that to come out clean. Well, it certainly wasn't coming out cleanly to scrape it. So it should come out clean to cut it. At least cleaner. I actually could use the 40-degree bowl gouge too. This might be a better option. That did a trick. So, fresh piece of sandpaper. Now we're back to 180 because I have nothing torn up in there, so I should be able to do that. That should do the trick.
Certainly not the best sanding job in the world, but for what it is, it should work. She didn't tell me what I was supposed to do with the inside. I don't know if she wants me to actually finish the inside of her. Also, I do not like a square corner. You almost can't get in there to sand. Also, just do the best that you can. Yes, you can do that. I will allow that. Because I literally can't get in that little itty bitty corner very well. That should work. Like I should sand a little harder on the outside though. Some big hairy scratches there. I think that'll do a fine. There's our base. Still plenty thick down there. Could have went down further than that. But the feel of it. Use my little trusty little calipers. See how thick we really are down there. Now we're a solid ½ inch yet on the bottom. I think that's fine now. I don't want to make it too deep. Should have looked at that earlier. Could have made it deeper than that. And it'll be just fine for what it is. So, base complete. Now, we'll do a lid. Actually, if I needed to do something else to that, looks like it'll actually slide over them jaws, which it will. It would actually go the whole way to the base. Probably wouldn't spin real true though, although it should. But I don't think we need to worry with that. This, I think we'll just go back to between centers. And lots of people like to use the worm screw in situations like that, but this stuff is not very flat. I would rather take the extra couple minutes and not have vibration, because that's what happens when if it doesn't sit flat on the face and the worm screw, then it will give you vibrations. We don't want that. I already have this one marked. Poke a little hole. This is definitely the top because we want to get rid of that little bit of knot in there. So we'll start on the bottom because we want to start on the Actually, we're going to start on the top. Just like I did with the last one, we'll just basically put a tenon in there so I can grab a hold of it. And then we will go from there. Once again, same deal. We're starting off with a piece that's square. It's just kind of, I view it as being sort of a good practice thing to do. You could make square boxes too. I've done that already. Start out slow, bring our speed up. We get some vibration, we'll back off a little bit. And it would probably make more sense if we go strictly overhead. A little bit from each side. Sort of the safer way of doing it. We won't splinter things up too badly. Because it wants to. whatever around. Nope, not quite. Oh, that's around there. That's good. Good enough. Now we'll sort of get to see what this knot's all about. We're pretty much balanced up, so now we can run at whatever speed we want. Knot's way out there. Like I say, this is going to be the top, so that should disappear. Be a good idea to make sure that's going to disappear. So we'll just reduce the thickness right off the bat. See whether we're below it. I didn't get to it yet. Looks like that's about how much we need to take off. Still ahead of that sucker going through there. Not really what I wanted it to do. It's going in on an angle. Didn't see any evidence of it coming out the other side. I think what we're going to have to do, we'll just put a tenon over here and grab a hold of it. Flatten out the other side. See where we're going to go. Need to reduce this by a considerable amount. Nice crisp, clean corner. A little bit of a dovetail would help. Look at his dovetail jag. Bouncing on that stupid knot. Well, maybe not. Definitely was a little bit of something there. It didn't want to go over very well. That'll be good enough for what we need. Get rid of the live center again, so that we don't get our. That's what I want. Now this part here is the bottom. Make sure we spin everything by hand, slow the speed down, bring our speed back up to what we want. Like I say, this stuff is fairly out of whack. It certainly is not parallel surfaces by any means. Still not quite flat. Get it clear so you can see what we're doing. Still a little place for the saw marks yet. A couple little bug holes. Nice clean cut to the middle so you can see what we have. The little holes are going to stay there for sure. They probably go fairly deep. And now we got to get rid of a knot on the other side. My real question is, can we make, oh, they fit inside of that, so you probably can grab it with the really big jaws. Or not. Decisions. I think we will. Won't take much to hold on to it. Sort of need that to be flat though. Oh, a little chippy in there. Switch back to the other scraper. It feels like that one's lost its edge already. Got some little chips there. This must be some grain going the opposite direction or something. So if you got rid of that. Okay, that's gone. Make it a little decorative. Still a little bit picked up in there. So they go up on its side a little bit. That should have taken care of that. Yep. Okay, now, and it's pretty small, but I think it'll work. Find out very shortly. So now we need a size for the opening of the box. It's going to be there. I'll set that somewhere where it's going to get knocked off. Should be there. You should be able to just go in there, at least to get it started with just a parting tool. Switch back to the gouge to get rid of the excess. And then we'll see whether we have a fit. And you're doing, these are both cross grain, both cross grain. If the fit is too sloppy, not what we want to do. My measuring wasn't quite what it should have been. Thought I had it set to where I was bigger than what it was. This is going to be sort of a cheater's way of doing it, because now I'm not going to go back and redo all that. If that fits over there where it should, I'll just make that a little bit of a taper. Yeah, so now it's actually tight. It won't go up over it. So if I make that just a little bit of a taper, then it should work. Because these, like I say, it's got some, it has slop to it, which is really what I want, because both of them are side grain, so the changes in seasons, it shouldn't tighten up and get all funky wonky. So now, clean up our mess that we made down here. Could even shrink that in a little bit further. Going to give us just a little bit bigger of a tenon. Grab a hold of. Check it again, make sure. Plenty loose. Okay, now the rough one part is going to be figuring out. This lid doesn't want to hang over by a ton, I don't think. Maybe somewhere out in there. It's kind of something, I mean, we just have a sort of a, I'm going to use that pencil, it'll break it. Just a little bit of a reference point out here. And then we'll go back to our gouge. And we'll get rid of some material here, just to get it down to where we can see what we think we want. because we have many options from here. Like I say, we got tons of material for the lid. I think right down to my line, I think will be a good enough place. Like in order to get into that corner easier, because now I have no idea. Actually, looks like this is slope. This part up here is sloping out rather than in. So we'll just go in there first. Make it a little bit deeper. That should work. The radius. The radius, some of these other corners as well. Yeah, I think that's just what the doctor ordered. Plenty loose, it still wiggles around. Like I say, you can't make these tight. And if I push hard on it, it's still sliding up on them. But with it being tapered, it shouldn't be able to grab a hold of it, even if the changes in the seasons does what it normally will do to some of this stuff. I don't think it'll hurt me. And our tenant's going to stay in our finished piece. So that if it does change dramatically, I could still put it back on the chuck and at some point down the road actually recut a little bit of this stuff. And do a little something there because it's where it goes went across that side grain. I don't know if it'll let me shear scrape that or not. You can't see it on the camera, but up close and personal, I can see there that's got rid of it. Now we'll go back and sand that a little bit. Yeah, I understand. All of it's getting painted, so paint's going to take up some of the room. And if it's tight, then the paint will stick to it. That was 220 over to 320, and we'll call it pretty much good enough. One last check. That'll work. Back to our 4-inch jaws. We definitely got that one. That one's really small enough. Less than 1/8 of an inch between the jaws. So that should not leave any marks at all. If I have it pushed in the whole way, it would be better. Looks like that's tapered. No, that's right. That's tapered a little bit, so that should be all right. Going down in a hurry. Yep. There we go. We'll start out here and get rid of majority of this to get down to that, sort of that diameter there, so that we will know where we're going to. Okay. This is just going to get a simple domed lid. We know we got to get rid of that knot. Which we probably didn't get rid of yet. Nope. Might have a lid with a knot in it. Sort of rough cuts just to get rid of the masses of material. Thinking knot goes a whole lot deeper than what I would have thought it did. And we'll just keep thinning it down a bit. May end up putting some sort of filler in that. It's still quite deep. Might actually end up putting a little, since you're going to paint it, I might end up putting a little bit of wood filler or something in there, because it's sort of even a little bit decayed in there too. Wants to pop out. Yeah, it's going to have a little bit of wood filler or something on it in it. I can't. Or I could give it probably one more thing. We could do a little bit of an OG shape. Should know right where that knot's at. There to there. That's roughly about, sort of roughly divided that into thirds, so it's about what we need to make an OG. Most likely didn't get rid of it yet, but nope. That's the best we're going to get out of that. Now we'll use a bevel supported cut and hear that knot knocking away. Should cut cleanly. It did, even across a little bit of picked up grain around a knot. Other than that, that's clean. She also told me that a little bit of maybe a knob. So a little bit of a flat area up here would be a good thing. Yeah, if only we didn't have to fill that hole. I'd fill it with super glue, but the problem would be that their paint probably wouldn't stick to it. The lid? Well, let me take it out and let's see what. It's sort of dome shaped. I don't think you'd want it perfectly flat. See which way we can do it that way. Yeah, that's a good answer. Yes. It's not flat enough. Make it flatter. I'm going to assume that's what she says is make it flatter. Yep. Okay. I'm working on it. Quarter of an inch difference. Now watch, can't get too carried away out there. More. Keep going with that knot hole. It's going to be out the other side. It's got to be close to being out the other side. That flat enough yet? Looks pretty flat to me. Well, let's give it the ruler test. Still not flat, of course. More, more flatter. It's gonna have, it's still gonna have a slope on the outside here. So we're getting definitely flatter. Can't go too flat, or I won't have anything left out here. Let's see what it looks like on the piece.
pretty flat. Go from the side view. That's what you're looking for without the big giant size hole in it. Okay. It's got some wiggle to it, which is good. You just have to figure out something to do with, I guess we'll just use some wood filler, which unfortunately is going to mean it's not going to have a finished piece for tonight. Oh, that's going to be about all we're going to get to do to that tonight. That'll take quite a while to dry. I'll end up having to go over that a second time. It'll sink in there. That's definitely a fix for something like this that's painted. It's a piece we were going to finish, then we'd have to do something different with it. Fill it with something more attractive. What about these little itty bitty holes up here? Now that I put the wood filler away, guess I should try and fill them too. Little bug holes. Okay. Now we have to wait. Pretty simple to finish up. All I have to do is sand that last bit of the top, and we will have a completed little flat box. Sits up off the table just a little bit. I think it'll make it give it a little bit more character. Maybe. The boss says otherwise, I did determine it'll fit over these jaws and go the whole way to the bottom. I could actually turn that back off if that would be the case. Other than that, I think that's going to be it for us tonight. I'm gonna go cook some chicken for my lunch. Clean up my mess a little bit. Wonders of working with dry wood. I don't have to clean up so much because I don't really have anything else that I necessarily wanted to do. So we've gone down this little kind of adventuresome path of trying to teach ourselves to carve with a knife. It's been rather challenging. I have trouble getting things to even look remotely round when I'm done. I think this little piece of basswood here, what I'm going to do is put that between centers, turn it just to the round. So we'll use our trusty little center finder. We'll go all four corners because I can see that it's not necessarily cut super square. It's not super bad, but we're out a little bit in one direction. Yeah, it's not really the end of the world. See how soft that is? Just that point just digs in. You're carving with a knife, why? It's still plenty hard. Just enough pressure to drive it. This will make round with the skew. And bring it in a bit.
Not quite. Sounds like we're there at that end. Still not quite there on that. There's a little fat spot somewhere. There it is. That's almost the whole way. Flat. A little bit off here yet. Now we have the cylinder. See whether that makes my life any easier or not. And that I'll just cut up into smaller pieces. It's basically probably an inch and a quarter, something like that. Oh no, it's bigger than that. Almost an inch and 5/8. That should give me like 2 3-inch blocks out of that. That should work. And it'll make my life a little simpler. Okay, now we're done. Anybody have any questions, comments? Otherwise, we are going to call it a night. And we should be back next week. So stop back. Generally here on Saturday nights. There's usually one Saturday night of the month that I'm not here. That's because I teach classes at our woodcraft store. Other than that, I'm usually here Saturday evenings around 6 p.m. Easter time. You're quite welcome. Until next week, you all have a good week.